If you're traveling around Berlin, this is gold.
Yes, if you're visiting the German capital, there's no way to get around without the BVG. What's the BVG?
We'll find out.
Let's go. Welcome back, I'm Geoff.
And I'm Alex. We are two Americans who've been living in Germany for over 10 years, and we are here to spread some knowledge and help you guys, learn some things if you want to visit or move over to this great land of Germany.
Absolutely, but first, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the episode, please subscribe. It helps you guys to get access to videos like this. And don't forget to buy the like button, a bottle of Woodinville bourbon. I mean, he just graduated art school. He needs a bit of a, congrats, boy, it's a good old boy.
It's a good old boy. And without any further ado,
let's do it.
Let's grab a drink.
Oh, yes. Whew, that's better.
That's better.
Cheers.
Now, today we are doing Berlin public transport, and there's a lot to be said about the public transport here. It's vast, it's wide, and it's pretty inexpensive.
It's wide, guys.
It's wide.
Yeah, one of the reasons I think we both love this city and fell in love with it is because of how easy it is to get practically anywhere in Berlin. It has, in my opinion, one of the best public transit systems in the world. You have the U-Bahn, which is the subway.
Right, underground.
Underground. You have the S-Bahn, which is an above-ground rapid transit system. It's basically an elevated U-Bahn, basically. So then you have two of those two. You have the toll tram. Toll tram system now in German would be Straßenbahn, meaning, street train. Then, of course, you got the classic bus, and you even have some ferries that will cross various lakes around Berlin. And you have regional trains that come through Berlin, but while they're in the Berlin area, you're allowed to use them as part of the overall
Also true, yeah.
Public transit system.
Now, the first thing you'll notice in Berlin is the BVG, this yellow color you see, everywhere.
Yeah, in English it would be the BVG,
yeah. Which is Berlin Verkehrsbetriebe, which is the Berlin Public Transport Service, whatever. It means something like that.
Yeah, and so if you live in Berlin or you're visiting Berlin, you're gonna have a ticket, most likely, from the BVG. Now, the Deutsche Bahn, the German rail system, technically runs the S-Bahn, where the BVG runs everything else,
right.
But it's all included under the one umbrella of the one ticket.
It's all inclusive.
It's all inclusive, yeah.
And little stats for you, if you little stat nerds. There are 170 U-Bahn stations in Berlin, 166 S-Bahn stations, and 382 tram stations. That's
and quite literally thousands of bus stations. So we've always said it, you can throw a rock from your house, you're gonna hit some sort of form of public transit. Now the beauty about Berlin is that it's not just 3 or 4 lines that are coming in from the suburbs into the city center.
Right.
There's roughly 10 subway lines and then countless numbers of S-Bahn lines, and they all crisscross around the city, meaning there's always a connection from A to B. There's not these, you don't have to go 10 miles in the wrong direction just to connect to the line that you need to make to your final destination.
And I think what's also great too, there's always multiple ways to get to a certain spot too. So you don't need to only go this one way. You can go here, take the bus that way. So if one train is closed, there's always another way to get, usually another way to get around.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the trains in Germany, as we've talked about in other videos, are a normal everyday form of public transit. Now living in the US, I hate to say it, but the kind of the culture that there is if, say, you ride the bus to work, in most cities, it means you're lower income, you know, people make fun of you, or if you're dating somebody, they're like, what, you don't have a car? Like, you're taking the bus, But that culture does not exist in Germany, and definitely not in Berlin. I think roughly half of the people who live in Berlin, that's 1.8 million people, use the public transit system every day.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine not using it. It just makes way too much sense. It's too easy, and it's comfortable. You can read a book, play a game, whatever you want to do. You're always comfy when you're riding. Well, unless you're on the U8. The U8's pretty brutal.
Unless it's a Saturday morning and you've got a nice big pool of vomit in front of you from the guy before.
It's also a fun thing in Berlin because parties go on all night. If you're taking the public transport between 4 and 8 in the morning, let's say, maybe you have an early flight or something, you'll see people in business suits ready to go to work, and people just absolutely drugged out, conked out of their minds
on their way home.
So it's a great mixture of people. You see kids with their people with their kids going out for a bicycle ride, and then people are just giant pupils and ready.
I've been there at 7 a.m. where I'm like, don't look at me, don't look at me.
It's fine, it's good.
And you brought up a good point. The only reason that you're able to see that is because the transit system runs 24 hours a day over the weekends, which isn't true. Like I lived in Vienna, doesn't run 24 hours even on Fridays and Saturdays. So and I think even during the week, there's only maybe like a 3-hour blackout period where the subways aren't working. It's like 1 until 4 a.m., right?
On the weekend, no matter how blackout you are, you can always get home safe.
You have a way to get, and that again, there's another reason why you never have to drive drunk. You always have a way to get home. And let's talk about the trains, the subway trains, S-Bahn trains in general. Like as you mentioned, they're pretty comfy, modern trains. You know?
Yeah, I mean, some lines are older, so they're really skinny trains, and the newer ones, especially the S-Bahn, because they're above ground, they're really wide and they're super long. And a lot of trains connect to each other, so it's not separate carts, it's all one train. So when it's turning, you can really see the whole train in front of you turn as well. It looks really, really trippy.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, look at North Korea's subway system, because those trains are from Berlin.
Yeah, East Germany, like they sent them over, what was it, in the 80s or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so Pyongyang, their subway system is all former East German U-Bahn cars, which look very similar to the cars that we still ride. Now, yeah, all the current cars, or most of them, have digital signage. The newer S-Bahn trains even have air conditioning.
Yes.
So like
trams are getting AC now.
Yeah, they're pretty comfortable.
Getting there.
And they have, again, a lot of signage, digital signage to let you know which station you're at, which station you're about to be in, which station is 10 stations down the line.
Which was not the case even 10 years ago. Sometimes you have to look out the window to see what station you were at. And as a my first few months here, it was really complicated to figure out where I was going because it is expansive and Berlin is a really widely spread out city.
Absolutely.
So it can be difficult for sure.
Yeah, and one of the nice things about the Berlin subway and S-Bahn is that when you're on the platform, with a lot of cities, you have to guess. When you're in Prague, you're guessing when the next train's coming. But here, it'll tell you 3 minutes for the next train. And so there's not a lot of, how long do I have to wait? Not a lot of guesswork. So it's actually really nice.
And speaking of platforms, what's unique, I think, about I don't think it's just only Berlin specific. I think it's other cities as well. Actually, it is in other cities. Yeah. Is you don't need to go through a checker to go in. You don't need to scan your ticket and go through. No
turnstile.
Turnstile, thank you. You just kind of walk in, go to your train, and get on with your day. And then every once in a while, there'll be a checker on the train to see who has tickets or not. If you don't have a ticket, you're looking at a 60-euro fine. But if you have a ticket, you show them, they say, hey, well done, Bruda. Yeah. And then you get on with your life.
Yeah, and the funny thing is sometimes you can go months without ever getting your ticket checked.
Oh, yeah.
But you never know. That's why, as they used to call it, people without a ticket, Schwarzfahrer, you're riding black, meaning you don't have a ticket. Which I would not recommend because although sometimes you can go months without being checked, I once had where I just wanted to go one station. I'm like, I'm not getting a ticket for that. And that one station I needed to go was when the guy happened to pop on to check tickets. So it can happen anytime.
Psychological warfare where Berlin's kind of daring you to not pay for a ticket, but always, in the back of your neck thinking like this guy might come visit me. And that's 60-euro fine. It's a lot. It used to be 40, now it's 60. It's hefty. It's a hefty
But
fine.
nowadays, there's really no reason to not have a ticket. It's so cheap nowadays.
It is really cheap nowadays. And especially, so this guy you see right here, this is called the Deutschland ticket. It's 50 € a month. This takes me all around Germany, including all public transport in Berlin and Hamburg and any city in the country.
For just 50 € a month.
That's 50 a month. I can go anywhere.
Yeah. Which is great because up until about a year ago, you were paying between 60 and 80 € per month just to be able to travel on the public transit just in Berlin. Right. Now the tickets cover public transit in any German city, and of course,
to get there,
trains between these cities,
not regional trains,
not high-speed trains, but regional trains, which is still very cool.
If you need like a 6-stop ticket, they're around 250, 280 now, I think.
Yeah, the day tickets are getting expensive. That's why usually if you're visiting for a week or more, always get the week ticket because you will save a lot of money. And if you're here for a month, just get a full month ticket.
Especially the tourist tickets. They have a lot of tourist tickets. You can get a Bahn ticket for all public transport, but also you get discounts at museums and other things like this. So I'd really recommend that if you're visiting Berlin for a week or so, get one of these tourist tickets and you can kind of go anywhere and do a lot of other cool benefits. Get a lot of benefits as well.
Yeah, totally. And if you live in Berlin, one of the cool things about the BVG and the whole public transit system is that they really have a sense of humor, the BVG. And they've had this big marketing campaign for years, which goes Es mir egal, which means it doesn't matter, basically. And basically what the whole marketing campaign is like, we don't care what you bring on the train. Bring a desk, bring a pony, and people bring animals because most people, and I've done this for several years, when you move from one apartment to another, people will literally, they'll bring their bed, their couch, just to save money, and they'll, with a friend, and they'll move it on the subway, on the S-Bahn train.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, the BFLG says, we don't care, go ahead and do it.
Unless it's a bike. If you have a bike, you have to pay for the bike.
Right.
But if you have a couch, for some reason, it's okay.
Even though it blocks more room than a bike.
Yeah, I don't know why, but that's Germany, baby.
Yeah, but that is the beautiful thing, is that you can use the subway to move apartments for free. So if you're low on cash, that's the way to do it.
That's definitely the way to do it. And if you guys like this type of content, if you want to hear more about public transport, we could probably talk a lot more about it. So if you like this, please let us know down in the comments, give this a little like, and we'll know that people like learning about public transport and things like this, because we want to give you guys what you like.
Absolutely. And speaking of like, yay or nay?
I'll give it a yay.
Full yay.
Full yay.
So, he has something to tell you.
Everyone, please remember to stay safe, stay healthy, and
Stay thirsty.
thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
If you're visiting Berlin, there's no way you're gonna get around without the beefy. Nope.
Moving or visiting Germany in this really cool place that we like to live in.
Do you want to do one more?
Yeah, maybe. Okay.